Rafael Nadal is just 3 titles away from matching at rival Roger Federer's 19 Grand Slams after a one-sided 6-3, 6-3, 6-4 victory over South Africa's Kevin Anderson to win the US Open. The win gives Nadal his 3rd US Open and 16th Grand Slam title. The world #1 has now won 2 slams in the same year for the first time since 2013, having won the French Open in June. The result also means this year's major titles are shared between Nadal at the French and the US Opens and Federer at the Australian and Wimbledon. Now, Federer remains at the top of the men's all-time Grand Slam list with 19 titles, 3 ahead of Nadal, who has now won 16 major titles, 10 of them at the French Open.
Great 2 weeks. Increasing level of tennis, increasing level of confidence during that 2 weeks, and yeah, have this trophy with me again here in New York means mean a lot to me. No? So I have been. There's no better way to finish the Grand Slam season for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a few emotions and experiences I'm going to take from this, a whole 2 weeks. I mean, obviously very pleased of making my way through to the finals and having that experience. I mean, a few players, get that chance. It's very tough, and to step out on court against Rafa tonight is, I learned a lot of lessons.
Well, joining us in the studio is the man credited with discovering Nigeria's latest and best tennis prospect. A female, really, Mary Love Edwards, who is now on a training scholarship at the famous Nick Bollettieri Academy in New York. That's the academy responsible for bringing us some of the top seeds in the world. Kayode Savage, glad to have you join us here today.
Good morning, sir.
After a long injury, he's back to claim 2 Grand Slam titles in 1 year, and he's just 31. Did you expect that Rafael Nadal will come back this strong?
Certainly. I'm of the opinion that he has everything to level up with whatever Roger Federer is having now, because it's just 3 titles away from Roger Federer, and nobody expected him to have 2 titles in this year, 2017, haven't gone through injuries. So let's look at 2018, for example, French Open. Who is going to compete with Nadal in the French Open? So I'm already counting 1 for him. Then hopefully he can fight for 1 more. Then he still has a lot of chance for him because he's just 31. If
I'll be coming to that, but let's look at it. The US Open title just come to him too easily. I mean, Kevin Anderson, his first Grand Slam final, as it were, but did it not come too easily playing against Kevin Anderson? Wouldn't you have expected him to have won?
You cannot say he won that title so easily. If you look at the roll call, he played a tough semi-final match against Martin De Potro, and it's a very, very hard semi-final match. And then you playing against Kevin Anderson is a familiar foe. He has played, their head-to-head is 4-love. That means he has won Kevin Anderson at their 4th-time meeting. So it's just in tennis we say he has a very good draws for him to win the title.
Very good draws. Well, that seemed a bit easy, but then when you look at it again, he's 31, 16 slams. You've given him 1 already for next year. Yeah. But then at 31, with that sort of injury he had the last time, do you see him going all the way to so quickly and easily matching up Roger's title? Or maybe Roger will win more?
Now, if you look at it, he's playing the best tennis of his lifetime now, because actually we know Rafael Nadal for clay courts. We know him to play more on the clay courts, and if he can share the hard courts with the likes of the ATP Next Gen that we have, the Zverevs, the Dominic Thiem, the Tiafos, and the rest, and picking one Grand Slam from the hard courts and then his favorite, the clay court, then he has a longer way to get 3 or more or 4 more titles in the coming years.
We've seen South Africa produce some of these players on this level, really. We used to have, for the women, Amanda Coetzee. Then we had Johan Craig for the men. We had Wayne Ferreira.
Kevin Corrin.
Now we have Kevin Anderson. If you talk about Nigeria, you talk about Nduka Odizo and then maybe David Imonite. I mean, who else?
Sule Ladipo.
Well, but how far did these players go when you compare them with the players South Africa has produced? What is it that you go on ITF circuit tour with, with the young stars?
Yeah.
What is it that the South Africans are doing to produce these players that we aren't doing in Nigeria?
What the South Africans are doing is that they support their players, they have facilities, and they have enough tournaments, because most importantly, before you can get to that topmost level of your career in tennis, you have to play a lot of matches. You have to play against the best, get the best of facility, travel around, because tennis is a game where you gather points. And for you to get to the topmost of the ranking, you have to go from country to country to get this point. So a lot of our players are actually good, but they are not exposed to international tournament. For example, going to Zimbabwe, Botswana, around Africa. Europe might be expensive. So going around Africa, South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, we have features 1, 2, 3, like that in Africa. Even in Egypt, we have up to 1 to 39 features in Egypt. It's very easy, but because lack of sponsorship did not allow our players to travel, for them to be able to get enough points to place them good for bigger tournaments.
The way it is, the way tennis is progressing, you have now a league that runs, you have the junior championships, CBN, SNEPCO. Now the NTF is trying to revive some of the Dala Hard Court, the Ogbe Court, and the rest of them. How long will it take Nigeria to produce another Odizo, or Sule Ladipo, or Imonite? How long to compete on that level?
My advice to the Nigerian Tennis Federation, it's of my own opinion, is that really we need to go back to the drawing board. Have a project. Like when I was in Turkey, I understood that the Turkish Tennis Federation, they came out with a project, like a 5-year project for 6 or 5 players, 10 players, and tag them project so, like project 2020, project 2025. Now, the aim of that project is to cater, monitor, and train this player. They can be 15 in number, they can be 20 in number. They will look out for this player, put them on tour, monitor their progress, and then they tend to see which one of them make it to the top.
As a tennis development officer, you've been in charge of some of these youngsters coming through the Nigerian ranks, whether it's Oyinlomo Quadri or especially Mary Love Edwards now. Really, how is she progressing? I mean, she's just gone to the academy in New York. How is she progressing?
Yeah, she's doing fine. She's settling very fine. Everything, she's in the right environment, and then we talked and she said everything is okay. At
just 12, what's your projection for her? Will she be able to, well, she hopes to match up with Serena Williams, but at 12 years. How many more years do you think she's got to break into the pro circuit and achieve something in tennis?
Well, to me, at 12 is not really the thing. For her, we have a vision. and then she's now on the right track. Now, the next 2-3 years, okay, let me just say in the next 4 years, we'll be able to see Mary Love playing on the WTA tour. At 14, she will be playing the qualies of the junior Grand Slams, the US Open, and because as it is, she's training alongside the world junior #1, Whitney Osigwe, trains at the IMG. So we have top junior player training at the IMG, and she trains with the seniors. So that's it's a very good one for her because she has someone to look up to.
Mary Love has a local rival, Angel McLeod. What's up with her as well?
Well, as it is, information has it that someone is interested in taking up Angel McLeod to also go to IMG. But I think the plan is in progress.
Right. So, well, we just talked about the girls, 2 young girls, and then the boys. What's happening? Nigeria needs to produce an Undercow Dizo. All the young boys are the juniors, the CBN juniors, the SNEPCO juniors. What's happening to them? And then how come Nigerians have not even been able to win the local tournament here, the Governor's Tennis Tournament?
Well, it is really tough. Talking in terms of the boys going pro, we have Sylvester Emmanuel now in Mallorca training hard. He'll be coming for the Governor's Cup. You know, tennis is a high capital intensive sport. You need to really invest in tennis to make an headway. You see, the main difficulty the boys are having is that they are not having enough tournaments. They train a lot, you know, going through this training program, you need to test what you have trained for. You need to travel to play tournaments. You cannot play 2 tournaments and compete against someone who has been touring, who has been doing the African tour, the West African tour, the European tour, the American tour. Coming to the Governor's Cup, we have players that are playing 13, 14 of tournaments, coming down to play the Governor's Cup. In Nigeria, we've only played 1 tournament so far this year, the CBN. How are we going to compete against the pros, our international counterparts? So we are not having enough tournament to compete against them.
So Nadal is coming back next year. Let's go back to but some of us would have thought that at 35, Federer should have retired. But it seems he wants to extend his legacy in such a way that nobody matches up to it. But Nadal is just 3 away from it. Do you see any of the younger, maybe Djokovic, Murray, Dolgopolov, or maybe Kyrgios or Raonic stopping him? I mean, at 31, he shouldn't be having an easy ride over these younger players.
Well, like I said before, it's like having a new wine in old bottle. You understand? Rafael Nadal is a very determined player, you know, and he have these things. He wants to win. If you look at the zeal, his determination to win trophy, to win laurel, he doesn't joke with points. He always want to win. So if you have a player like that, you see that zeal in him, you know he has a mission to accomplish.
You made it look nice. You say zeal. Some of us think it's just power play. When you compare that with the imperials and the finesse with which Roger Federer plays the game, looking at both of them technically, with that sort of injury Nadal had, do you think he can keep on playing with so much power like that? Will he last as long as 35?
Well, a lot had changed in Nadal's game, obviously. But Nadal used to be an aggressive player, all-round aggressive player those days. But I believe with inclusion of Carlos Moya in the coaching crew now, Nadal has been able to transform those all-round aggressive. Now, sometimes you see him going all the way to the baseline to return Kevin Anderson serve in the finals. Unlike Nadal, he will stay on the baseline and try to counterpunch Kevin Anderson's serve. But now he's now doing serve and volley. Now he has a lot of things have been introduced into his game, which makes it a little different from the way he's been playing. Now the tendency of picking those injury now is reduced, and he's playing the best. I mean, he's playing the best form of his tennis. His serve has increased tremendously. He's serving very well. Kevin Anderson could not get a break point. That is on Nadal's serve. So that's to tell you, he has really changed his game style.
That does not sound like good news for Federer lovers. It seems he's going to upstage him the way you sound.
Yes, yes. I'm very, very optimistic. When Federer and Nadal are going to meet, it's going to be a tough battle to settle.
Well, thank you so much, Kayode Savage, Tennis Development Officer with the Ministry of Sports, and the man who discovered our latest tennis prospect, Mary Love Edwards.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.